Hi there, my crafty friends. It is Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stamped AF. I wanted to show you how I made my card for the What Will You Stamp Challenge on Monday, April 29th. We are using the Happy Tales bundle this week, and I want to show you a fun technique. I'm going to take a piece of our shimmer white cardstock, and I'm just going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a full A2 size card base. And the reason I want it to be the full size is because I'm going to be cutting the sides off at the end. I'm going to use my embossing buddy, and then we're going to stamp this little paw print just randomly on here. No rhyme or reason, just every so often. And it's kind of hard to see it because Versamark is a clear ink. Just hold it up and make sure that I've got good coverage. It's even harder to see it on this than it is on Whisper White. So I'm going to take my white embossing powder and just cover this whole piece. Once I have the powder on, I'll see if there are any gaps that I need to fill. Maybe one more in here, pointing a different direction. I don't want to go too close to the edge because I'm going to be cutting that part out. Off, not out. And it doesn't look like there's any extra powder that I need to get rid of, so I will turn my heat tool on and let it heat up for a moment. There we go. And I'm going to take, I've got a blending brush here. That one's a little bit damp. We're going to use this one. So I'm going to start with a gorgeous grape, and I want to be fairly light-handed when I'm doing this. So I'm going to start off of there, get a lot of the heavy ink off. I want this to be more of a subtle look. I mean, I'm using brights, but I don't want it to be too light. So like you would with any other blending, just start off the page so you don't end up with too much ink, because you can put more on, you can't take any off. Are just going to spritz a little bit. Actually, first, before I do that, I want to wipe the ink off of these paw prints so that they're close to being white again. And now we'll take a Stampin' Spritzer and just spritz some dots on there. And if you would like some smaller dots, you can spray, or you can just dump it in your hand. And let that sit for a moment, and then just using a paper towel, soak it up. Now, because we've got so many paw prints on here, the white speckles are a little less obvious than they would be with something else, but still a nice effect. There we go. Now we will trim this down. Remember I said it was the full card base, and I don't want my full card base on there. So we're going to take a little bit off of all 4 sides. About 1/8 of an inch off of each side. So this will be 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. And now, because this is supposed to be the rainbow bridge, we are going to add a little bit of sparkle because I feel like we need that. Look at all this beautiful color on my grid paper. I always spray my spritzer onto a paper towel or onto a scrap piece of paper to make sure that I'm not going to get a huge clump. And now, what we are going to do, originally I was going to use a piece of the wood grain, but I think because we've gone with this nice rainbow look, we are going to use a piece of basic black. I'm just going to trim a little piece of it, and then we will use our stitched squares. So the reason I cut it first is because I don't want my cardstock getting any patterns from the plates because they are fairly well used. Now, I don't want this heart cut out. So what I'm going to do is pop it back in there. And I'm going to take a little piece of washi tape, and on the back side, I'm going to tape it in there. I like that this heart is on here, but I don't also want it every time. So this is a good way of putting it back in. Now, it's never going to be like it wasn't there, but it's not as obvious. Okay, now I said there was one more thing, right? Just gonna buff this. You can use a nail buffer if you have any rough cuts. So what I would like to do is put some clouds. Now this is an embarrassment of an ink pad, or sorry, I'm looking at my ink pads. This is an embarrassment. This is my cloud mask, which when I got the embossing masks, I said, I am never gonna use this one. Like, I almost gave it away. But I have used it, and we're gonna use it right now. But when I did use it one time, I was doing a video and I didn't soak it fast enough. So this is on here for life. So we're just gonna take our Whisper White stamp pad and do a couple of little clouds. Now it's Rainbow Bridge, so chances are it's always sunny and beautiful, but I wanna add a little something, something. And because we've got so much ink on there, it's kind of muddying it up, but oh well. We'll put one, no, the dog is gonna be right there. So let's just put one more medium-sized cloud right about here. And we can Darken these ones up a little bit more. It can be as light or as dark as you want it to be. If you want it to be opaque, just add more. If you don't add that much. So there we go, we've got ourselves a couple of clouds. And we're done with that. So I've got a Whisper White thick card base right here. I'm just gonna glue this guy down. Just hold it down for a second. And I feel like this is missing something, so I'm going to use my basic black Stampin' Write marker and just go along the edges. You could also do some ink splatter on there if you wanted to. We're going to add one dimensional to the end of this banner because remember this is popped up. We'll add a little bit of glue on this part. And there we go. That is all. So we've got a beautiful rainbow bridge card for someone who has lost their beloved. I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm sorry it ended up being such a long video, but if you like that, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are so inclined, I would love for you to leave me a comment and hit that big subscribe button, and we'll see you soon. Bye, my crafty friends.